Hey y'all, it's Keep It 1 Million show. Dwayne and Sean, we here. March Madness.
Indeed.
Calvin has said some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and
GCU, U of A, and who else he wanted to fight for?
Grambling.
Grambling.
Yeah, look.
They're not getting past the first round. I'm sorry.
I didn't even fill out.
Calvin,
it was too late for me to fill out my men's bracket. I filled out like
filled out three.
I filled out 3 women's. I usually fill out 3 women's and 3 men's.
Yeah, that's crazy though. Grambling, no, I'm sorry. And then you say Howard. I'm like, Howard's not even in it. They lost. They lost. I don't even think they bust 50 points.
I remember back in the day, it was a school, because I was in the MEAC. There was a school in MEAC called South Carolina State University. It was this dude that played it named DJ McKee.
Yeah.
He was a baller too, man.
And online and listen. The number 2, KRDP.com, a service of Desert
Views
Soul
and
Media.
opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Desert Soul Media and its board of directors. Thank you for listening.
This week on the Keep 1 Million show, March Madness is upon us as the men's and women's tournaments are live. We're going to talk live scores, news and notes, and who are the top players right now in college basketball. We're also going to get into the NFL as the offseason is still going on with free agency, and there's still some moves to be made. And also, is Caleb Williams the best player out of the NFL draft? We're going to talk about that, as well as what's going on in baseball with Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter. We're going to get into that, and opening day of Major League Baseball is coming up. We're going to talk all that and a lot more inside and outside of the sports world. So keep it locked right here on the Keep It 1 Million show.
This is DW News, and these are our top stories. The US Supreme Court will allow state authorities in Texas to start arresting people suspected of crossing the border illegally from Mexico. Once in custody, migrants could either agree to a judge's order to leave or be prosecuted on misdemeanor charges. Opponents of the controversial law are warning of racial profiling and rights violations. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the whole of Gaza's population is facing severe hunger. His warning comes as Israel rejects international pleas to call off a planned ground assault on the southern city of Rafah. The fighting has driven more than 1.5 million people to shelter in the city close to the border with Egypt. Germany has announced a further 500 million euros of military aid for Ukraine. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius made the announcement on the sidelines of talks with the US and other allies at the Ramstein Air Base in Germany's southwest. You're watching DW News from Berlin. There's a lot more news on our website, dw.com.
I think my friend is probably stationed there.
Business sponsorship on KRDP is provided by Scholars, providing 21st century training and job placement in the tech industry for underrepresented populations. Students ages 14 to 21 can gain vital work experience that will aid in their preparation for tomorrow's economy. The program will offer 5 weeks of paid employment up to 25 hours per week, earning the Arizona minimum wage. The first cycle begins May 31st. For enrollment information, go to perscholaris.org. That's PERSCHOLAS.org.
This is the Keep It 1 Million show. I'm Dwayne.
Sean P.
It is the 21st of March.
Yes, sir.
And we are in the start of March Madness.
Best time of the year to some people.
90.7 FM KRDP. Desert Soul Media. There is just a big upset right now. Kentucky
Yeah.
goes down. Number 3 Kentucky loses to Oakland, 80-76.
Frazier goes down. Down goes Frazier. Yeah. Yep.
Right. And
Yeah.
well, some other scores. Iowa State beats South Dakota State 82-65. Gonzaga beats McNeese State 86-65. Oakland beat Kentucky 80-76.
Duquesne, they upset BYU.
Yeah, 71-67. Creighton beats Akron 77-60. Arizona beats Long Beach State 85-65. North Carolina beats Wagner 90-62. Illinois beats Moreland State 85-69. Oregon beats South Carolina 87-73. Dayton beats Nevada 63-60.
Yeah, that was a nail biter.
Yeah. Texas beats Colorado State 56-44. And there's a couple other games that are coming up. North Carolina State, Texas Tech, Drake versus Washington State, and Samford versus Kansas. Also, Tennessee is beating St. Peter's 29-13 in the first half. Now, a lot of people at this time are just for betting purposes and office pools and whatnot. And I know the the men's basketball game isn't what it used to be because of the one and done. But it may change with this NIL deals. Next season, they're going to start in men's and women's a NIL tournament in December in Las Vegas, to where the teams that win that 8-team tournament gets $1 to $2 million. Players get in NIL money and endorsements.
Okay.
And with that being said, speaking of NILs, if you remember, the NBA has started a pilot program in their G League, a team called the G League Ignite team, right? That team was going to kind of supplement high school players and players from other leagues to skip college, if they want to get paid immediately, go to the G League. And it's been going on, it's went on for about 6 years now. Notable players from there is Scoot Henderson, who was a top pick. Also Jalen Green, Dyson Daniels, and the Warriors' Jonathan Kuminga.
Okay.
All came from this G League Ignite team. But because of the NIL in college, which will possibly have players stay in college basketball, this program will be no more. They will fold this team and this program at the end of this season. This team was based in Henderson, Nevada, right outside of Las Vegas, and ran by the president, which was Sharif Abdul-Rahim, ex-NBA player.
Yeah.
And
Real good player,
him and Albert Silver made a statement, and also at the All-Star game they talked about this may be it because of the NIL deal. Do you think the NIL can possibly help men's college basketball for having players stay more than one season, because of they're going to most likely, these players make more money then going to the G League or overseas, because there's only a few players that go to the NBA, and it's even a smaller few that start and become stars. So do you think these players can possibly stay longer in college basketball, making it a little bit more prestigious now?
I believe that it can help, because you pretty much already know who's going to go pro after that freshman year, and then they just move on. There are still some players that stay that are good players. They just stay, and this will give them incentive to stay, to go to college, to stay there, and not go to the G League or overseas. So, I mean, it could work. It could work, and it could go bad as well. But I'm real curious. I'm real curious to see how this works out.
Right. Also, the women's game don't have that. They don't have a quote unquote G League. It's just either college to the pros.
Or they go overseas.
Or they exactly go overseas, which they actually make more money overseas right now. How do you feel about the women's game being somewhat a higher rating than the men's game right now, as far as viewership, players? People have affinity to women's players over men's players right now. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I've been watching the women's game, so I'm not in this percentage of people. I've been watching the women's game since the Louisiana Tech days, the Texas Tech days, the Old Dominion days. I just been, because I'm a fan of basketball, even though I'm not a great basketball player. But
you was back before Skylar Diggins was hot.
Say again?
So you was there before Skylar Diggins was hot.
Yeah.
Remember that whole Skylar Diggins situation, Notre Dame? Where all the celebrities was trying to get at her.
Little Wayne on the side, like trying to holler. And that actually upset me, because, this is her job. Can she do her job without you trying to just holler at her? Like, that's just like bothering. That's just like bothering the teacher in her classroom, when she's trying to do it and you're trying to hit on her and everything. So that bothered me a little bit. But the women's game, I always liked the women's game, because the women's game was always more fundamental than the men's game, because women weren't skying through the air dunking and stuff like that. So they concentrated on footwork, on low post, on jump shooting and things of that nature. So with the women's game becoming more popular, it's because the players have to stay there longer, and they're able to grow. They're able to grow an audience. Now the audience has taken a while, because of the landscape college basketball used to be in. It was years ago it was either UConn or Tennessee. I mean that's what it is. Now it's spread out. USC, Southern Cal can win this year. LSU can win this year. Iowa can win this year. It's more teams out there that could possibly win. So, and there's more parity. You just know the players. You know Angel Reese. You know Caitlin Clark. You know Juju Watkins. And I hate to say this, it helps that they're pleasant to look at. These young ladies are easy to look at. And you're like, oh man, she's good looking. Look at her and everything. And they showing that you could be feminine. They're showing these young ladies out there that want to play ball. You could be feminine and still ball. I mean, for God's sakes, I don't see Angel Reese's baby hairs ever move when she's playing. I mean, and I'm not teasing her. I'm giving her props. I'm like, geez, and she could play. I disagree with Jason Whitlock. She could play. Now she's not going to pull up the threes and all that, but she got that. She got a wonderful low post game.
Yeah. Now going with there's some scorers for women's tournament. They're still in their first four, which is the play-in. Before you get to the real tournament, which their tournament is on Friday.
Yeah, it starts on Friday.
Presbyterian beats Sacred Heart 49-42. Vanderbilt beats Columbia 72-68. And UT Martin and Holy Cross is playing right now. Holy Cross up on UT Martin 52-26. And U of A beats Auburn 69-59. So both U of A teams are now officially in the tournament.
Oh, hold on. U of A women have to do a play-in?
Yes, they're the 11th seed.
Oh, okay.
Right. Now I know you know players to watch for in the women's. So who are they in the women's tournament? Players to watch for.
Oh, the players to watch for. You can watch for that. The Notre Dame point guard, Hadaga, I believe that's her name. Watch out for her. She's a freshman as well as Juju Watkins, of course. Watch out for anybody on that South Carolina team, really. And watch out, of course, for Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Flaugier. Watch out some teams to watch out for. Watch out for University of Colorado. They beat LSU in the beginning of the year. They're really good. Watch out for Utah as well. I believe Utah. Yeah, they did. Watch out for Utah as well.
Okay, and I'll say on the men's side, first of all, North Carolina has a few players. I would say you want to watch for Andrew Baycott, and you also want to watch for R.J. Davis. They both are over 20 points in their win against Wagner. UConn, who plays tomorrow. They have some great players. They're the number 1 seed, and a couple players out of UConn to look for is. Hold on. Tristan Newton and Donovan Clingan out of UConn. And I would say a team to watch out for would be Oregon.
Oregon?
They've won.
All right.
I think 7 games in a row right now, beating South Carolina. They're the 11th seed. They won the Pac-12 tournament, beating Arizona, going on like a 5-game run. To win that tournament, the conference tournament, you have to win, 4 or 5 games in a row, and for them to get here into the tournament, they won their conference tournament, beating some top teams. And I would say Oregon can possibly go deep. Also, I would say a blue blood, a Gonzaga. They're a 5th seed, but they have been heralded like they were in previous years.
All right.
But I think the same coaching staff and everything.
We consider them blue bloods? Gonzaga?
Well, in the past 20 years, they've been, in the top teams. Another team is Baylor.
Okay, yeah.
Who they've won. They won championship beating Gonzaga.
Yeah, a few years ago.
So. Yeah, I'll say this is some more teams to look at and players as well, but Creighton being another team that's a Big East team that's always there. Marquette as well. A few teams from the Big East were snubbed, and should have been in. Only 3 teams in the Big East went to the tournament. A mid-major conference that has 6 teams. And so a lot of Big East brass were upset about that, and a few Big East teams didn't. They were invited to the NIT. That's like the consolation tournament. They refused. They said no, we're not going to the NIT. So they're kind of quote unquote silently boycotting, because the Big East, which is I would say one of the top conferences in college basketball, only had 3 teams in the tournament. So. Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious. I have to go look at it to see the Big East schedule this year, like to see how good the teams were. Because, and in the past, the Big East, they ate their own. The reason why a lot of them didn't get to the tournament because they were beating up on each other,
right?
Like the whole year.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a bad year. But this would be a bad year for them. But I will say they do have. I mean, back in the day, you remember how it'd be Villanova, Syracuse, St. John's, all these teams, Georgetown. They'll have UConn. They'll have 5 teams
Right.
easy in the tournament. But
Well, one coach that was very upset, Rick Pitino, who's the new coach of St. John's.
oh yeah,
And St. John's went all the way to the Big East final, lost to UConn, and they won I think 5 or 6 games in a row to get where they're at, where they were, and a resume that they have should have got them in, and they didn't get in, and a few other teams besides in Big East teams, resumes. So there are a few snubs that people didn't like when it comes to the selection committee and the teams they selected in. And as you see right now, Kentucky gets knocked off in the first round. There's always going to be that 1 or 2 teams that get knocked off in the first round.
Oh yeah.
But we're going to come back. We're going to go to break right now. We're going to come back and talk more college basketball and some NFL as well, and NBA. So keep it locked right here. 90.7 FM. It's the Keep 1 Million Show.
Yes, sir. Yeah, them bracket busters.
What's up?
Them bracket busters.
What's the names?
I remember years ago when Syracuse lost to Vermont, and I think it was 2005. That tore everybody's bracket up. But I had Syracuse going to the Final Four, and they lost to Vermont. They had Jerry McNamara. They had Hakeem Ward. It was great.
Last year U of A lost and North Carolina lost. Last year, yeah.
What, in the first round?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna talk some NBA. I'll get into that. 90.7 FM, Keep 1 Million Show, KRDP. And the NBA's in the playoff push. You have some live scores right now. Knicks and Nuggets, 61-56 Nuggets.
Okay. What they playing? They playing in the Garden?
They're playing in Denver.
Denver.
Rockets beating the Bulls 122-106 in the fourth quarter. Bucks beating the Nets 106-101 in the fourth quarter. Jazz and Mavericks. Mavericks up 76-61 in the third. Magic beat the Pelicans 121-106. Wizards beat the Kings 109-102. And Suns and Hawks will play later on tonight on NBA TV. Now, I'm going to talk about how the Knicks have basically, they're on the West Coast swing.
Yeah.
And they won 3 games in a row on the West Coast.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And now they're playing the Nuggets. They beat the Nuggets in the Garden. Do you think they can get far in the playoffs? Because there's a lot of people saying that they can possibly make it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
How healthy are they? They got everybody back? Like,
No.
nah.
And that's the thing, is the fact that OG Anunoby is in and out. Mitchell Robinson, he's practicing. He may come back before the playoffs, and also Julius Randle is still injured, and he could possibly come back before the playoffs or during the playoffs. So they're literally a game and a half behind Cleveland in that fourth spot.
Now my question is, does Julius Randle ever play a whole season?
No.
Jeez.
I have not seen him play a whole season since since back in LA.
Okay, so I in the beginning of the season, well, I had the Nuggets. I didn't want to go against the Nuggets, really, but I had it to be Boston and the Nuggets. I'm not gonna say who could win that. We'll see. But I had Boston and Denver in the finals. I had the Knicks get into the Eastern Conference semifinals, though. Not semifinals, Eastern Conference finals. I had them doing that because I looked at their team. I was like, yo, this is a good team, especially when they started playing together. Well, they got a squad out there.
And Julius Brunson is basically Jalen Brunson is basically taking the team over.
Yeah.
You know, he had 40 a few games ago.
Who was he with last year? He was with
Dallas. Not last year. 2 seasons ago, he came.
Okay.
You know, came in with the Knicks
Okay.
from Dallas. But
From Dallas.
yeah.
Because I was looking at Dallas. I was like, man, can you imagine if that's who I thought he was with? Can you imagine if Brunson was still there? I was like, man.
Yeah.
But they got Kyrie, so, you know.
Kyrie's
with that-
doing great.
Yeah,
He's
Kyrie
doing great
with
as
that
well.
crazy shot he made at the end with the left hand.
Yeah.
Jeez. But to answer your question, no, I really do believe the Knicks, because Jalen Brunson's balling. I'm not saying he should get MVP, but he should be talked about it because
Right.
he's been amazing. He's been amazing this season.
And speaking of Kyrie and Dallas, they are tied with the Suns at 40 and 29 in the 7th and 8th spot.
Okay.
Now, we know that beef between the Suns and Dallas with Booker against Luka.
Yeah.
They've had that for a few seasons now.
It's been heated.
Now, the thing is, the Suns right now, they're actually it's a 3-way tie for 6th place with Sacramento, the Suns, and Dallas. Do you think the Suns have what it takes to get to that 6th seed? Because how they're constructed, how they, how they've been playing. They did bring in Isaiah Thomas, a 10-day contract.
Yeah, I
which
saw
is
that.
Great.
I saw that.
They need scoring off the bench. Can they finally make a push to get into that 6th spot?
You said Phoenix, right?
Yes, the Suns.
I don't know. I don't think so. They don't play any defense. They can't even guard a post. They don't play any defense. So I can't see that. I see Dallas. I could see Dallas moving up, but not Phoenix. I think Phoenix will be right there.
They're 5-5 in their last 10. I mean, they won their last game against the 76ers, 115-102. They got an easy game at home against the Hawks. So they should win that game. If I'm not mistaken, let me see when their next game is. The next game is against the Spurs, so that's an easy game as well. So it's like they can. They play the Spurs again after that as well. They got 2 against the Spurs. You know, this is right now this is that last push, about 15 games left in the season.
Yeah.
You know, they got a tough one against the Nuggets coming up next week. I think they can rack up some wins. It looks like the end of the schedule is favorable. But Sacramento, I'm not sure they can beat Sacramento, or they can catch Sacramento. So they may stay in that 7th spot. The thing is, they shouldn't even be there. You know, I get injuries, you know, is the case with Bradley Beal, and their bench is...
This Bradley Beal thing hasn't been working out for me.
Right. It hasn't. It really hasn't. And it wouldn't put it past me if they look elsewhere after the end of the season, because I don't think he fits with them. You know, the chemistry is not there. It's basically a two-man show with KD and Booker. When Booker's healthy, you know, I mean, the one carrying the load besides them is Grayson Allen, of all people. You know, and they don't have a bench. Their bench is nothing. So you bring in, you know, Isaiah Thomas, who possibly can get you, you know, 12 to 14 points a game. That can work. But this push here, it should have been you're fighting for the top 3 spots in the West. How this team was constructed, very top-heavy team. I think really when you see how the Nuggets play, how Oklahoma City plays, how Minnesota plays, you know, a 7th, 8-man roster, you can't just have your starting lineup out there like that. And even the Knicks have learned with Thibodeau, who always used to have a top-heavy lineup. You know, he's kind of switched it up. But the Suns, on the other hand, it doesn't seem that way. I mean, they need to have some kind of change.
Yeah, it's you need at least about four people coming off the bench for you, and who knows what Phoenix is going to do this offseason. I mean, they could possibly package Bradley Beal and get a bunch of like really solid reserves for him, possibly to boost up the bench scoring. Who knows? That's something for the GM to figure out. But yeah, you need a good rotation off that bench. And any championship team will tell you that your stars are going to do that, but that bench really helps. I mean, look at those old Detroit Pistons teams. They have Benny the Microwave Johnson come off the bench doing that, doing those things. And look at who else? They might not win championships, but like Jamal Crawford, like Lou Williams, all these guys that could just come off the bench and ignite. You need that to win.
Yeah, exactly. You really do. I mean, I'm looking at when they played against the 76ers, and you got O'Neal, you got Bol with 10, O'Neal with 13, and no one else over 5 points. I mean, now you have Grayson Allen, who's supposed to be a backup. He's racking 34 minutes. He had 32 points. He had the most. Bradley Beal only had 3 points, 1 for 4 in threes, 1 for 6 from the field, 37 minutes. Grayson Allen is your top scorer. That doesn't make sense. You can't have Grayson Allen being with Devin Booker only 18. He had 11 assists, but still.
He had a Duke flashback. Man. He said, man, we're going to Final Four.
Real, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? The March Madness started and he turned back the clock.
Yeah, he turned it back.
But if you have Grayson Allen as your top scorer, or you're one of your top scorers night in, night out, man, that's not good. But yeah, that how if you look at Bradley Beal hasn't been playing, I think they're gonna have to make a move. It's not working for him. It's not working because it's supposed to be him, Devin Booker, and KD, both scoring 20 apiece, 25 apiece. You know, and it really hasn't worked out at all.
The thing is, Bill was used to, Washington. He was the man on a bad team. He wasn't expecting Washington to do anything.
Yeah,
they did get to the playoffs. They got to the playoffs with him and Westbrook. They got to the playoffs, and they lost that playoff series to the Sixers. But still, you know, he's used to that. I'm a great player. I'm a good player. I'm a really good player on a bad team, and then nobody's really looking at you. You can put up all the shots you want. Whereas now he's in a role where, it's, hey, we trying to win a championship, and we trying to, this is how we trying to ball out. And I'm not saying he can't do it, because I do believe he can do it. He just needs to figure it out.
But I don't think there's time to figure it out. I don't think they have another season for him to figure it out, because they're on KD's time. This is on KD's time, KD's legacy. He's the one who made the move to come to the Suns, and from Brooklyn, and he still wants that championship without the Warriors. You know what I mean? So, you know, Devin Booker's along for the ride, but it's Bradley Beal, and you made a great point. He was a big fish in a small pond. Now you're a big fish in a big pond, and there's other big fish. You know what I mean? So what are you gonna do? Where's your role? Where you fit in? And I don't think, maybe it's not for him. Maybe he doesn't fit in a role like this. We have, like I said, someone like Grayson Allen. You know, he was with the Bucks, and he I think he was with them on their championship years, and he kind of knows this, not just the system, but he knows how to play that type of role, being on a major team that's going deep into the playoffs. Bradley Beal doesn't know anything like that, and then on compounding with his injuries, being in and out of the lineup so much, you're not going to get any continuity or any chemistry. Like I said, he only had 4 points in this game against 76ers. With Grayson Allen with 32 points, that's not a winning basketball. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just not. And you won the game. You won that game. But is that going to translate to, you know, you guys winning the play-in, going against possibly the Lakers, or like I said, Dallas, to get that, you know, that one of the 7th or 8th seeds? I don't know. And that's going to be a crushing disappointment if the Suns don't even they lose in the play-in. If they lose in the play-in, you best believe there's going to be some changes.
Oh yeah, there's going to be some changes. And Grayson Allen did win chip with Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So he definitely understands what it takes to get down to the playoffs and get there. So yeah, it'll be some changes if they don't get to the playoffs, or if they lose that play-in. They didn't acquire KD and Bradley Beal to not be at the top of the food chain.
Think about that. A team like that, on paper, everyone thought would be a top 4 team, not just in the West, but in all of the NBA. They may not make the playoffs. They may be a 9th or a 10th seed. I'm speechless right there. Think about it. And the Lakers too. The Lakers are in the same boat as well. But it seems like they may have another switch that can turn it on and end up a 7th or 8th seed. But I don't know if the Suns have that switch. I don't know. To be honest with you, if there's a play-in and it's Suns versus Dallas, my money's on Dallas.
Oh yeah, Dallas all day good. Dallas got a nice little squad.
My money's on Dallas. That one, the one game, winner gets the 7th or 8th seed, loser goes home. Yeah, my money's on Dallas right there. I really think that's going to end up being the case too. And with that being said, we're going to go to break. We're going to come right back. We're going to get into some baseball. We don't really talk baseball, but the best player in the league, Shohei Ohtani, is in a bit of a pickle with his interpreter. We're going to explain that and more. So keep it locked right here at 90.7 FM, KRDP. It's the Keep 1 Million Show. sweating.
Yeah, they got you sweating.
Mm-hmm. Hot in here. .7 FM, KRDP is to keep 1 million show. I'm Dwayne.
Sean Pay.
And we got some live scores here.
Mm-hmm.
Washington State and Drake tipped off is 21-18 Drake.
Mm-hmm.
NC State is up on Texas Tech 23-20 in the first half. Tennessee is up big on St. Peter's 46-20 at halftime. And Kansas is up on Samford 24-16 in the first half. That's your late night NCAA tournament scores. In the NBA, the Nuggets are beating the Knicks 81-73 in the third quarter. Mavericks up 94-79 in the fourth quarter. And those are your live NBA scores. Now, in baseball, Major League Baseball, which opening day is coming up, but there was a bit of an opening day kind of ceremony in Korea as the Dodgers played the San Diego Padres in Korea. Had 2 games, but that was overshadowed by a report that came out saying that there was a massive theft of money from Shohei Ohtani. And there was the late Shohei Ohtani had people of Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers have contacted law enforcement of a massive theft of money, and come to find out, it is his interpreter. His name is Mizuhara. Ippei Mizuhara, and he's like, I guess his best friend. They're always around each other, they're always with each other, 24/7. You know, especially as an interpreter. But it says that he was involved into illegal gambling. This is back in when he was with the Angels, and he owed a lot of money, millions of dollars, up to $4 million. But there was 2 $500,000 wire transfers in Shohei Ohtani's name. That was sent to a illegal bookmaking company. And this is where it all kind of unravels, because there's all these different reports saying that Shohei Ohtani didn't know about it. Ms. Suhara had addressed the team before he was fired by the Los Angeles Dodgers. And they're saying that Shohei Ohtani, that's when he first knew about the situation. Everybody's calling cap. If you don't know what cap is, that means a lot. Everybody's calling cap. Everyone's saying that Shohei Ohtani knew about it. This guy, Mr. Bauer, who is the the owner of illegal bookmaking. He has a lawyer, and he's being questioned about the situation as well. And what's crazy is they're saying he used his money, but Mizhara was being paid between $300,000 and $500,000 a year from the Angels, and had a contract with the Dodgers when, Shohei went and signed with the Dodgers. Now, if you're making that much money and you're blowing it all on gambling, and he said he wasn't gambling baseball, he was gambling international soccer, football, college football, and basketball, and you have a debt upwards of millions of dollars, and having to use Shohei Ohtani's account to wire $500,000, and now they're saying that it had nothing to do with Shohei Ohtani. Like, what's really going on?
Yeah, I found it very, very, very strange because while if they're trying to put it on him saying he stole the money, well, that means he had to have access to the account access to the account to wire the money. You gotta have to have that access, and so that means because he can't just go in there and be like, hey. He has to have account numbers. Actually, he has to have permission.
No, yeah, exactly. Like this is
permission.
It's not like you're cash apping $20 or $50 or a couple $100. This is $500,000.
It's a lot of money. So he had to have permission to do this, and I'm honestly, it's a piece of me that's saying, okay, he said he wasn't gambling on baseball, and that can be verified if the guy that runs the gambling thing wants to turn over the receipts and stuff like that. You can see what he was gambling on. But let's take him at his word. He wasn't gambling on baseball. Ohtani's supposed to be his homeboy or whatever. This dude gets into a jam, and he decides to help him pay off his debt. I don't see an issue with that. But especially if he wasn't betting on baseball. So. But since they want to make an issue about it and we're talking about it, I just need to know like how do you get the information? How do you get your banking information, bro? How do you get that?
The thing is lying about it is the problem. Is it you guys were both betting and you both were in debt? Was he in debt only and asked you to help him out, and you said, okay, I'm gonna help you out, these couple times, or
what was Ohtani? He asking him to place the bets.
Right.
Place the bets. I give you the money, and it's his name on the stuff and everything. It's his name on the stuff. He ran into a pickle and was like, yo, I placed these bets for you, but you gotta pay these dudes off because you was losing these bets. I mean, was it something like
right.
that?
And the thing is he the fall guy?
Yeah.
That's the question everyone's asking. Is it Shohei Ohtani making the bets? Because the thing is, the transfer is in his name. Mm-hmm. So now you're saying that this guy is a thief, stole your money. Is it identity theft? Mm-hmm. Is it wire fraud? What is it? Because, like you said, you need permission, you need authorization, you need all kinds of stuff to transfer that much amount, $500,000, more than once.
So some of these places want the blood of your firstborn, man. So,
right.
But yeah, it's serious.
Yeah, and that's just came out, a developing story.
Yeah, it's developing.
This does leave a black eye on Major League Baseball, especially when you have your top player involved in the scandal. When you hear gambling with baseball, you think of Pete Rose. Mm-hmm. You go all the way back to the Black Sox scandal, mm-hmm. and everything involved with that, and all those years back then. Now you have legalized gambling. The thing is, California is not legal. Sports gambling is not legal in California.
Oh, it's not? Ooh.
Yeah, so that's a double whammy there, So the thing is, what's the truth? and that's what everyone's trying to figure out with this situation, because you have your top superstar, you're really the only player you market with him and Aaron Judge. That's the only two players in baseball that MLB markets for
Trout a little bit.
no, they tried, and he didn't want to be marketed. He didn't want it. You know what I mean? You don't even see him on no commercials nowhere. You know, yeah. So this is a black eye, because it's like, okay, this guy on a new team, give him $700 million. He's a top paid athlete in North American sports history.
Yeah, $700 million.
And now you're using this on gambling, and it could be illegal gambling, and it could get to suspensions. This guy could possibly go to jail. So it's a major issue. Will this be a problem with people watching baseball? No, I don't think so at all. You know, but it will be. We will watch and let everyone know what's going on with it. One last thing, Canelo Alvarez. He's actually fighting on the day before, on May 4th. Annual Cinco de Mayo fight. He's going to face against Mugia, who's 43-0 with 34 knockouts, for the super middleweight title, the undisputed super middleweight title, putting up all his, all four major belts they had since 2021. Mangula had moved up to 168 in this past year. Now, what's interesting about this fight is the fact that this is Canelo Alvarez's only third fighting a fellow Mexican fighter. He had said in the past that he would never fight a Mexican fighter because he thought that would knock their career down if he, beats them. But now he's changed his tune and said the opposite, that he wants to help Mexican fighters by, having them on a platform of that magnitude, fighting the best fighter in the world, and it's going to be in Las Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, MGM Grand. And Freddie Roach is Magula's trainer.
Oh, snap.
And he actually called it the biggest fight in the world right now. Quote, this is all about making history. This is what Alvarez said. I want my legacy to be about making the greatest fights possible. That's what I want to continue doing, defend my belt, and bring the greatest fights to the fans. So, and the thing is, Magula is Oscar De La Hoya's promoter, and Alvarez used to be Oscar De La Hoya's fighter. So they've been trying to set this match up for a while. They've been hyping it for a few months. It's going to be on pay-per-view. What do you think about this fight here? I'll have to go back and actually look about Magula's last fights and everything. So this is my first time hearing about him. Do you think it's going to be a good fight?
I've never seen another guy fight before.
Yeah, and for him to have this record, I mean, who has he fought? So I have to really fight,
I can't say if it's going to be good or bad. Alvarez's last fight was Charlo, right?
Yes.
Charlo, I actually saw that fight. So he looked good against Charlo. Charlo was a smaller fighter, but you want to just go with Canelo because that's the fighter I didn't see much from this other guy. I actually haven't seen anything from him. I'm gonna have to go on YouTube and pull up some of his fights and see. But I expect it to be a fight, not a quick knockout. Probably Canelo probably stop him in the 7th or the 8th or something like that.
And what everyone's talking about is he ducking David Benavidez?
That's a good question.
Because Benavidez wants Canelo, and he kind of ignored him through this past year and a half. So, yeah, could this be him officially? I mean, he's fighting on May 4th. It's going to happen. Is he ducking Benavidez?
Hey, you know, this is you know, Canelo learned a lot from Floyd. Floyd used to do this all the time.
Yes.
The guys be like, oh, you gotta call him out and this, that, and the third, and Floyd would fight them when he was ready to fight them, which you know, angered me. You know, like it upset me, but because I wanted to see the best fights and see the fighters in their primes. I didn't want the one fighter to be on a downslide and stuff like that. But I can't hate on him when he's like, yo, I'm the champ. I'm gonna fight who I want to fight. I'm gonna set this fight over here up because I get more money over here. Okay.
Right.
And who's to say Benavidez would beat him? I mean, people are like, oh, yeah, he'll knock Canelo out. I'm like, okay, we'll see.
Yeah. And I think people think that's going to be a very big money fight as well. But in Canelo's defense, does he need a big money fight? He's had so many. I mean, he has one of the biggest money fights in history against, Mayweather.
Yeah.
And the thing is, where in his career does he need a fight like this?
He doesn't need a big money fight. I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer. And, well, not right now. We know he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. He's already proven himself in the ring. It's almost what the fighters always say, high risk, low reward. So a lot of people, I don't think he's scared of the dude. He's just like, I'm gonna do this over here.
But that would be something to look for after this fight. Let's say he beats this guy. His name is Jamie Mangula from Tijuana. If he beats this guy, how loud would that Benavidez talk get after that? He's like, would he even be? That'd be nice for him to be there. Benavidez in the stands watching that fight. Mm-hmm. And you can see that a lot where fighters that want to fight the guy that, the guy that's fighting, he's like, hey, I'm right here, and then you got that whole stir up, that beef going on. So we'll see May 4th how that plays out after, because I would most likely think Canelo beats this guy, So you got your money, you put your money on Canelo.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we're gonna go to the next hour. We're gonna come right back. 90.7 FM, KRDP, Keep 1 Million Show. Keep it locked right here.
Yes, sir.